Vanishing Folklore and Beliefs. Welsh folk tales and other stories. Public domain reading, circa 1891. The story of Gelert. It was somewhere about 1200. Prince Llewellyn had a castle at Aber, just abreast of us here. Indeed, parts of the tower remain to this day. His consort was the Princess Joan. She was King John's daughter. Her coffin remains with us to this day. Llewellyn was a great hunter of wolves and foxes, for the hills in Carnarvonshire were infested with wolves in those days, and the wolves were after the young lambs. Now the prince had several hunting houses, sorts of farmhouses. One of them was at the place called Beth Gelert, for the wolves were very thick there at this time. Now the prince used to travel from farmhouse to farmhouse with his family and friends when going on these hunting parties. One season they went hunting from Aber and stopped at the house where Beth Gelert is now. It's about 14 miles away. The prince had all his hounds with him, but his favorite hound was Gelert, a hound who had never left off a wolf for 6 years. The prince loved the dog like a child, and at the sound of his hunting horn, Gelert was always the first to come bounding up. There was company at the house, and one day they were hunting, leaving his wife and the child in a big wooden cradle behind him at the farmhouse. The hunting party killed 3 or 4 wolves, and about 2 hours before the word passed for returning home, Llewellyn missed Gelert, and he asked his huntsman, "Where is my hound Gelert? I don't see him." "Well, indeed, master, I've missed him this half-hour." And Llewellyn blew his hunting horn, but no Gelert came at the sound. Indeed, Gelert had got on to a wolf's track, which led to the house. The prince sounded the return, and they went home, the prince lamenting Gelert. "He's sure to have been slain, he's sure to have been slain, since he did not answer my hunting horn. Oh, my poor Gelert!" And they approached the house, and the prince went into the house, and saw Gelert lying by the overturned cradle, and blood was all about the room. "What? Hast thou slain my child?" said the prince, and ran his sword through the dog. After that he lifted up the cradle to look for his child, and found the body of a big wolf underneath that Gelert had slain, and his child was safe. Gelert had capsized the cradle in the scuffle. "Oh, Gelert, cried the prince, "my favourite hunting hound, my favourite hound! Thou hast been slain by thy master's hand, and in death thou hast licked thy master's hand." He patted the dog, for it was too late, and poor Gelert died licking his master's hand. The next day they made a coffin and had a regular funeral, the same as if it were for a human. All the servants in deep mourning. They made him a grave, and the village was called after the dog. The village was called Beth Gelert, Gelert's grave. And the prince planted a tree and put a gravestone of slate, though it was before the days of quarries, and they are to be seen to this very day.